and get started. So everyone, welcome, welcome, welcome to actually let me stop because we need to record this session. Where's my record?
I just turned it on. We're all good.
Okay. All right. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is Working Your Network. I am Dr. Jonette Ruffner Caesar, and I see my camera has gone off. And my colleague, Erin Ahart, we are your CCAS Career Services team. And today we will be contributing to this presentation. We hope that you will take some great notes, take some screenshots, but we'll also send this presentation out to those who have registered. But we do want this to be not just where we're presenting, but we want some great questions as well. So let us go ahead and get started. So I am Dr. Jonette Ruffner Caesar, as I mentioned. I am one of your career counselors. Just a little bit about myself. I've been at GW a little over a year now. And in addition to serving as a career counselor, I also own a professional services agency where I work with mid to senior level career folks. And my desire to come to GW on a part-time basis was to basically share some of the tricks and tips that I share with my clients, with students, so that hopefully as you navigate through your career journey, you won't have some of the same challenges that some of my clients have. And so I also want to give space for Erin to introduce herself as well before we move forward.
All right. So, hello, everyone. My name is Erin Ahart. I'm the other career counselor serving all graduate students in the Columbian College of Arts and Sciences here. In my last role, I previously planned all of the large-scale career fairs and events for a different university. And so, when I was in that role, I really learned just how important networking is especially today. I saw some really successful networking interactions, and I saw some students who could have just used that extra little bit of help, and how much more successful that they could be with the use of networking. So really excited for you all to see this presentation today.
Great, thank you. So you all, today we are going to discuss the following. We're going to define a professional network, talk about the benefits of networking, share who should be in your network, the benefits of online and in-person connections, learn how to prepare for networking, opportunities, the types of networking events, and then we're going to wrap this up with successfully networking on a particular platform, as you all know, as LinkedIn. So you all, a professional network is essentially a group of professionals, both in your career field and other related fields with whom you have fostered a professional relationship. Networking essentially allows you to foster these relationships with others that are mutually beneficial to the careers for you and those in your network. And the goal is to typically be able to ask of support from other people to help you on your professional journey, and so that you can also return the favor. So that is essentially what professional networking is. It is definitely a valuable resource because, as the saying goes, it's not just about what you know, it's also about who you know. So let's start off by talking about some of the benefits of a professional network. So you all already know that your network can help you to identify job leads, right? It can serve, or those individuals can serve as leads and serve as your entry point to opportunities, possibly enabling you to bypass some of the formal processes. They can help you to learn about job openings. Your network can also prepare you with relevant information they have about a particular company that others may not be aware of. Your network can also provide you with professional advice, right? They can often added value, added insight that can benefit your professional efforts and your goals that may help you to really save some time and some stress. And also, LinkedIn connections are also beneficial. So not only LinkedIn, but also memberships to professional organizations are also great ways to connect with individuals. So professional organizations, and I see that I don't have it here on the list, but professional organizations in LinkedIn help you to broaden your network so that there are people from different geographic locations as well as different areas within your particular industry. And so the more connections you have, the better. And then finally, professional people in your professional network can serve as references for you. So remember, you need at least three references, right? And those individuals or those references should grow and be updated as you grow professionally. And those references can range, or people in your network can range from supervisors to colleagues that you have worked with. Okay. Um, who again um, should you include in your network? So some of those people, individuals that could be included are college professors. Aaron and I always like to say that in career services, we are generalists. We are not specialists in your industry, which means we can provide you with kind of general information. But the people that you really want to connect with, in addition to us, are faculty members because they have inside information about your industry. In addition to that, as your professors, they can really speak to who you are academically, who you are in the class, right? And they can also they know your interests if you've taken the time to really connect with them and get to know them. So consider having college professors or faculty, I'm sorry, or staff members in your department be a part of your network. In addition, managers and coworkers, so former or current managers, should be in your network. And I don't just mean regular jobs, but it could be internships that you have secured or volunteer opportunities. They should be in your network because they have a clear understanding of your professional capabilities, from showing up on time to being an asset to that particular organization. Okay. Next, members of professional clubs and associations. Professional clubs and associations enables you, and I said this before, you to meet and build relationships with people all over the world. Again, who work in your industry. And it's always good to include people to your network that may not be, again, in your geographic area, to broaden your knowledge about your industry and your options when you're seeking employment. And let me just add a component here, and this connects back to college professors. So, one thing Aaron and I have learned is that there are certain industries. Let's take museum studies, for instance. They are a very tight knit community. And so it's important to know that and to be plugged in and connected with individuals because, um, folks will share information with one another. And if you're a part of that circle, you get the benefit of getting that information. But because it is a tight knit community, it also plays into reputation. So even though we're not talking about that necessarily tonight, that when you are a part of a network, understand that your reputation is important. And if you are in an industry where things are tight knit, just know that you need to show up well, so that your reputation isn't professional reputation isn't diminished in any way. Again, LinkedIn, as I shared before, it's an opportunity to connect with professionals in your industry worldwide in order to broaden your connections and your potential opportunities. And then last but not least, let's not forget family and friends. Okay. So they know you and they want you to succeed. And they are members of your fan club. So, of course, they would be willing to promote you and willing to share information with you as it relates to potential career opportunities. Therefore, you should keep them updated on your career goals and aspirations. Um, just in case they have a coworker or friend that they can connect you to and share more about you and what you do. And probably out of all of these people, your family and friends can certainly talk very passionately about you and provide very good information and detail about who you are as a person and your passion for why you want to do what you do. So, family and friends are definitely key individuals that should be a part of your network. So, how do I work my network, right? So, let's take this opportunity to dig a little deeper and review some practical yet effective ways you can work your networking group. So, you want to connect with the right professionals. So, building relationships with lots of individuals is fine, of course. But when you are seeking a job, focus on meeting and building relationships with those who are in your career field or who know a lot about the career you want to pursue. This will help you to get the most relevant information and advice. So, be intentional, is what we're saying about finding those individuals. Look for people that may be further along in their career, people who are doing things that you want to do, and then make it your business to connect with those individuals. Stay in touch. Once you make a connection, it's important to keep in contact with them. If you don't regularly communicate with your network, you risk losing those relationships. And the better your relationships are, the more likely your network is to help you in a time of need. So please stay in touch. There's nothing like, and I've seen this happen, folks will have a member of their network on their resume, or they list them as a reference, and the person hasn't spoken to hadn't spoken to that individual in 5 to 10 years. And so if that's the case, they really don't have a lot that they can share. So be sure to stay in touch. Another way to work your network is to be an asset, right? It's equally important that you are available to help out those in your network when they ask for your help and advice. And this shows that you respect your contacts and can increase the likelihood that they'll return the favor when you need their help. So always be an asset, always be a resource to the people who serve as a resource to you. And then finally, always express your gratitude. Say thank you. When someone supports you, it could be a recommendation, it could be serving as a reference, it could be a job lead. Say thank you. It could be verbally. You can do that through a thank you card or through coffee or lunch, but make sure you do that. It just demonstrates that you have respect for them and your relationship, and you're showing your appreciation, one professional to another. Okay, so how should you engage your network? So one way is for with college professors, um, meet with those individuals during office hours, right? Meet with them after class. One of the strategies that I like to share with students is if that's what you're planning to do a little research about that professor before you go in to talk to them so that you have some reference of their background and you can demonstrate that you've done your due diligence to understand who they are, their background, and you're being intentional about who you're meeting with. As you recall, I said determine or get a short list of who you want to connect with and why. So meeting with those individuals after hours or I mean office hours or after class is helpful. Particularly if you are an introvert. Okay, I too am an introvert sometimes. And so sometimes for us, it's easier to connect with people on a one to one basis. And to eliminate some of the concern or some of the awkwardness about having that conversation is preparing in advance. And by doing the research on your professors, learning their background, understanding why you specifically want to meet with them helps you to get rid of some of the uh, anxiety that comes along with having a conversation with individuals. Um, just know that you knowing something about them will help to open the doors a little wider, right? And you understanding or having an idea of what it is you want to do and what opportunities you're seeking will also help the conversation to flow. Okay. Send an email to the person that you want to connect with, right? The people in your that you want to invite to be a part of your network. Again, similar to engaging with faculty, know why you want to communicate with them, right? Do a little research about them. That I'm telling you, the research goes a long way where you're not just aimlessly kind of asking, I'm looking for an internship or I'm looking for a job. This really is about relationship building. And so if you've done your due diligence to find out and learn something about this person, it really helps to make the connection and helps the conversation to flow. And then the last three ways is you could request a virtual coffee or an informational interview expressing that you're interested in learning more about a particular opportunity or you want to discuss your career journey with the individual. Another component is to volunteer. This is more of a I would say out of the box kind of concept is that let's just say you are in a finance class and your professor says they are working on a particular project or preparing for a conference and the individual hasn't expressed that they have a need, but maybe in them detailing what they're working on you see a need and it's a need that you can support. So now you are supporting this individual, you're learning from this individual, and you are establishing a relationship with this individual just by volunteering your time and your expertise. And now through that process, that person can organically become a part of your network. And then finally, give back. If you want help, offer help. So, sort of like the volunteer component of this. So, just keep that in mind and be creative in this process, right? And we always encourage students to start as soon as possible, to not wait until your final semester or final year to begin this process. Networking, meaningful networking takes time. And if you don't want to have an experience or feel like well, not even feel like, if you don't want to use a person, right, just for their knowledge about helping you to get a job, and you genuinely want to establish a relationship, it takes time. So start the process early by meeting a professor again after class or doing office hours, sending an email, etc., to get you on your way through that process. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about networking online versus in person. I mean, let's face it, in this age, online communication is great. It's really convenient, and for introverts, sometimes we would prefer not to necessarily meet in person. However, in-person networking, like networking events, offer unique benefits that can't be replicated online. Um, and one of the ways is you can make really genuine connections, right? Um, where you could just be at a networking event and you happen to strike up a conversation with someone. And then next thing you know, you're exchanging information. And now you have a lifelong professional friend, person who's in your network. Um, yes, online is convenient, but I think that one-to-one interactions, there's something about meeting someone in person versus over a computer screen. It's just a different connection. And so there is value in person, meeting in person. You get immediate feedback. And what I mean by that is, again, yes, you can communicate verbally online. And yes, you can see nonverbal cues, but you may not necessarily be able to be introduced to a person someone knows. So, for example, if you're at a networking event, you're having a conversation, and the person you're talking to has a friend that you should meet, you get to immediately connect with that person while at the event. Online, you could receive a person's contact information, but look at how we could expedite the process of gathering your networking resources by having that immediate feedback and connection. And that falls into unexpected opportunities. You never know what can happen when you meet someone in person and the kind of people they can connect you to in that particular instance. And then next is brand building. So everyone has a professional brand. You may not know exactly what that is right now, but there is a certain way that you show up professionally, your professional value. And I think by meeting in person, you get to show aspects of that. And that includes your personality that you just can't get online. And then both opportunities online and in person provides ways for partnership potential. So again, connecting with a person online or others they know, there's always that potential there. But I will say there's something about the in-person connection that overrides the online connection. So always use opportunities to do both. Find ways that you can get in person because that is a skill I believe that may be fleeting in some ways. We're so reliant upon online exchanges that sometimes we forget how to be with people and among people in person. And so make sure that you keep that skill very strong. So I just wanted to provide you all with a list of networking events that you could consider. If you want to take a screenshot of that, feel free to do so. There are a few that I want to highlight. The first are webinars that have breakout sessions. These, of course, are online events with small group opportunities where you're on a Zoom meeting like this, but maybe there are smaller breakouts that occur. But that is a great opportunity to make connections with folks. The next is through competitions, where events where participants collaborate on projects, right? And it's great for showcasing your skills in tech or creative fields. And then there are a few that are not listed here. Airports are great places to connect, grocery stores, church, barbecues, things like that. And so, what I'm essentially saying is that when you are looking to connect, I always like to say you're in a season of opportunity. So, look for opportunity to connect with people everywhere you go. You never know who you can engage with and who is that person that can really lead you to your next opportunity. Okay. So how do I select a networking event? We suggest choosing formats that play to your strengths and allow you to showcase your expertise or learn from others in a way that suits your personality and career goals. There, networking events range from um, large conference networking events to job fairs to mixers, which are smaller events. So think about at least starting off what makes you most comfortable, because that's the way it's going to work on best on your behalf, right? Than to go in an environment where you're really uncomfortable. You don't want to talk to anyone. So starting off, where do I thrive the most? What types of environments make me the most comfortable? And start there. Okay, so as we move to the close of my portion of this presentation, I just want to talk a little bit about how to prepare for networking events. So please do your research, and the research could include reviewing the event agenda. What's going to be happening? Who are the speakers? Understand, for instance, even the dress code so that you can be well prepared and feel good in the environment that you're in. Aaron, I see you have your camera on. Did you have a question or do I need to pause?
Nope, you're all good.
Okay, great. Next, set clear goals. After you've done the research and you know who's going to be present, decide who and how many people you want to meet and why, and make it your business to get to those individuals. Identify specific companies or roles you're interested in and determine what information you want to gather at that event so that you have a strategic game plan for how you will move through this event. Definitely update your resume, and prepare your elevator pitch. That's like, a 30-second. So, Amanda, tell us a little bit about yourself. And you want to be able to think about the things you want to highlight in terms of your key skills, or really career aspirations so that you can have a fruitful conversation. And then finally, prepare
Can I ask a
conversation
question on that?
starters. Yes, Amanda.
When you were talking about key skills and career aspirations, things like that, is an appropriate place to, and maybe it's not, but where would like a key accomplishment come in for that? Or maybe is that not an appropriate elevator pitch type of topic?
Yeah, I would talk about career aspirations. Hi, I'm Amanda. I'm majoring in blah blah blah, and my goal is to do this type of work. And then
Okay,
that would organically, hopefully, spark further conversation where then you could insert some of your key skills.
understood. Thanks.
You're welcome. Okay, and so in terms of a conversation starter, think about what interests you most and prepare 1 to 3 open-ended questions to ask others. For example, you could say, I'm really interested in how AI will transform our industry. What are your thoughts about the impact of technology? Something to that effect, right? So being prepared, having a strategy, doing your research will help you to be ready for these types of events, especially if you are an introvert and these types of things make you itch. Okay. So being prepared is definitely the key to this. And also, the more you do this, the more you put yourself in these types of situations, the more comfortable you will become. All right. And so, as I conclude, here is another checklist for types of how you can prepare for networking events. So, this is kind of a quick sheet that you can use, that you can check off as you move forward to prepare to have the most dynamic experience ever. All right, now I will turn it over to Erin, and she is going to help you to successfully prepare to network on LinkedIn.
All right. So at this point, you've learned a lot about networking already from Dr. Ruffner Caesar. Now we're going to get into LinkedIn, which in my opinion is a networking necessity. You better know how to use LinkedIn in this day and age. And so that's what we're going to talk about for the next portion of this presentation. For those of you who don't know what LinkedIn is, it's the world's largest professional social networking website. 61 million companies use the platform. Anyone from college students to large corporations use the platform, and 190,000 and growing active GW alumni are on LinkedIn. It's also home to a job search feature, just like you would use Indeed or Handshake to search for positions. And through GW, you have access to a resource called LinkedIn Learning, where you can take more than 20,000 different online courses to grow your experience and boost your resume. So moving right along, why should you start with LinkedIn? Well, first of all, LinkedIn is how you can keep track of your network through connecting with other professionals on the platform, like you've already learned today. 15 years ago, just a short 15 years ago, you would keep track of your professional connections by writing them down on a piece of paper or in a context book or on a notepad somewhere that was dedicated to your professional connections with their phone number and their email. But that's not reliable because people change jobs all the time. The way you can contact people, maybe their emails change. And so LinkedIn is super helpful in that aspect. You can also post to your feed to update your network on your academic and professional achievements, interact with other people's posts, reach out to people individually to make a connection, give and or ask for help from others, or request an informational interview. So this is really important because you will use LinkedIn to connect with people, but employers and recruiters will also come across your profile as you're applying for positions. And as you increase those connections and you increase your engagement on the platform, other people will come across your profile organically, and they will be the ones reaching out to you and messaging you as well. And so that's why building your profile is the first place to start. And so that's what we're going to do next, is talk about how to build your profile. And so next slide, perfect. Your LinkedIn profile should convey a couple of things, and you can see a screenshot of my LinkedIn on the screen. So it should convey that you are talented. So your skills and experiences should be easily visible to someone who stumbles across your profile. You should be current on LinkedIn. You should be active. You should appear credible. And you should show that you take your career seriously with what's available on your profile. And so let's start with credible. In my opinion, that's one of the most important parts. Show others that you are a real person and not a robot by having a real current professional headshot on your profile like I have there. If you don't have a professional headshot right now, the main Center for Career Services on the 5th floor of the University Student Center has a professional headshot photo booth where you can go. No appointment is needed, and you just go into the photo booth dressed professionally from the waist up, and it'll take your professional headshot and then email you the photos, which is really cool. Highly recommend you take advantage of that resource. Also have some kind of background behind your photo just to show that you built out your profile. If you really don't know what to put there, some people have shots of scenic backgrounds in nature. You can use one of LinkedIn's just stock images. You can put something about where you work. I put Columbian College of Arts and Sciences because I want my students to know that they've stumbled across my profile, or it should be very clear when my students see my profile that I'm a career counselor at GW. Fill out your profile in its entirety, and we'll talk more about that in a second with your about section, your experience section. And then demonstrate credibility and that you're staying current by engaging with your network on LinkedIn, like Dr. Ruffner Caesar already talked about. So comment on others' posts, increase your connections, post to your network, and people can view your recent and your past engagement when they click on your profile. When I would go and search for someone myself on LinkedIn, or I'm helping a student review their profile, I can see 1 week ago, they commented on someone else's post and said, congratulations on the new role. People can see all of that. So just really keep that in mind. Again, you can also use LinkedIn to give someone else what you're hoping to receive from them in return, like Dr. Ruffner Caesar already mentioned. So one of my favorite ways to do this with people on LinkedIn is through endorsements. So at the very bottom of your page, people can see that you're credible and that you're a real person because other people have endorsed you and kind of provided a Google review on your LinkedIn page, who may have been past coworkers or maybe their friends and family, if you want to do that to start. And if you ask someone to endorse you, say, I would love to endorse you as well, and share about why I love working with you on your profile. So love LinkedIn endorsements. Next, I mentioned that you want to show that you are talented. So your profile shows your relevant skills and experiences. Your skills and experiences should not only be visible, but they should be explained in detail in either your about section or your experience section, or both. And the reason why, the same way I tell my students when we're talking about resumes and cover letters, if you simply list out a skill, the employer or whoever's looking at your profile has to take your word for it. And the more detail you provide, the more examples you provide, this is true in an interview too, the more likely they are to believe that you actually have those skills and experiences. Again, fill out your experience section in its entirety. Another way to stay current is to update your experience section. Don't add a PDF of your resume, because your resume is constantly being updated. You don't have to want to upload a PDF every time. And finally, post to your network about your accomplishments. I know this part is daunting to people, especially if you're not a social media person or you're just not a person who likes to brag. I know a lot of people think that posting to your network is bragging. It's not. It's a very necessary part of networking. And so start small by posting about your biggest accomplishments, like graduating from GW, getting your first job, getting an internship, getting a scholarship or award, and then move on to posting more regularly about small projects or anything that aligns with your professional brand or kind of establishing your own thought leadership. And finally, with staying current, this one's really easy. You want to make sure that you check your account once a week to make sure you don't miss out on any connections, job opportunities, deadlines, networking events, or messages that you may receive. And again, constantly update your LinkedIn. The reason why I'm sharing all of this, while this is a networking workshop, this is not a how to build your LinkedIn profile workshop. I'm sharing it because it's really important that people come across your profile and again, see that you take your career seriously, especially when you are messaging somebody. Whenever you connect with someone, message someone and they've never met you, they're going to be really looking through your profile to see, okay, who is this person before they respond, and take you up on your request to do an informational interview. If you want more information about building your LinkedIn profile, we have done workshops on this in the past. Feel free to drop in the chat if that's a recording you would like. We might send it out in the email after this meeting. And we'll definitely be doing LinkedIn workshops in the future. So please keep an eye out on your email and our future workshops that we will be advertising. So moving on to the next slide. Building your profile is the first step to using LinkedIn for networking. The second step is to identify who you want to reach out to. So at this point, you maybe have made a list of the friends, family members, coworkers, faculty members, classmates, anybody else who you already know who you want to connect with. And maybe you've reached 100 or 200 connections. But I mentioned that 500 number. You want to try and hit 500 LinkedIn connections, because when you hit that number, you instantly become more searchable. People can find you. You now have access to all of these other opportunities that these 500 people are posting to their network that you can view. And so how do you get from 1 or 200 connections to 500 with all of these people who you don't know yet? Well, what I would first recommend is that you go and look at the GW alumni page. And so the way you do that is go to the George Washington University page on LinkedIn. You'll know it's the right one because when you search the George Washington University, the one that comes up, it says at this point, I think it says 320,000 followers. And so that's the right one. That's the one you want to look at. And then click on the alumni tab that is highlighted in green here on the screen. The reason why connecting with alumni is a great place to start when thinking about who else you can add to your network is because you already have something in common. Alumni love thinking fondly, hopefully fondly on their memories of being at GW. They typically love helping current students in their careers because other GW alumni likely helped them when they were students. And so when they hear from an alum, it's just a point of connection. With any professional connection that you make, the more you have in common with them, the more likely it is that the conversation is going to flow and they'll want to help you out. So like Dr. Effner-Caesar mentioned earlier, if you have done your research and you come prepared knowing about this person who you want to speak to, for example, at a networking event, that's why it's easier, is because you have that point of connection. So that's what we're trying to achieve. So again, back to how to find alumni. Once you click on this alumni tab, you'll see that right now 190,132 alumni are on LinkedIn who are searchable. So you can search alumni by their job title, by keyword, by skill, by program of study that they graduated from at GW in this search bar here. But what the screen doesn't show is that when you're actually on this page on LinkedIn and you scroll down, there are other filters. So you can filter by location, industry, skills they listed in their profile, area of expertise or knowledge, what they majored in, what specific college they went to within GW. And you can use all of these filters to find the perfect person to connect with. And then when you scroll down even further, it will say people who you may know. And this people who you may know, that's not just random people. These are people who meet all of the filters that you have selected through this search. And so that's how you find alumni who meet the filters you set. Let's see, what else? So when you have identified the people who you want to reach out to, you might be thinking, okay, how do I send that message? How do I send that email? And so we'll move on to the next slide, where we have step 3, which is how to reach out via LinkedIn and via email. On the screen here, you will see a template or a script that came from the article 10 templates for sending LinkedIn connection requests. And this is an article from themuse.com. If you ever need quick career advice, you don't have time to meet with a career counselor, you need to send out an email that day, you just need something really fast, I really trust themuse.com. It's one of my favorite career resources, and they have hundreds, maybe even thousands of articles. So I really love that resource. But here on the screen, you'll see a message that's an example from that article. And there's a couple reasons why I really like this particular LinkedIn message. And it's because it has 3 components that I try and encourage my students to use when they reach out to folks. The 3 components are that this person has introduced herself. So I'm a college senior interested in working in marketing. The only other thing this person could have done was maybe said, hello, my name is Fina Beauchamp right off the bat. But again, it's not truly necessary. They just need to understand who you are, and that person is a college senior interested in marketing. Next, you want to talk about how you learned about this person's work, who they are, and state why you're interested in connecting with them. So this person said that they've been following their work at Bryan and Associates for the past year. Their work has really impressed this person. This person said, I particularly loved your campaign in the Atlantic. That multimedia component was totally unexpected and really effective. So they're really showing specific reasons why they're interested in this connection. And then the third component that you want to include is a call to action. This call to action can be really small. It can be, I would love to connect with you so I can stay updated about the work you're doing in this field. I love the phrase, so I can stay updated on your work. I think that's a really easy one to use. But this call to action is this person saying, if you ever have 20 or so minutes, I would love to hear more about how you started working in the field and what skills you believe are most relevant to the profession. So this person is wide open. They're saying, if you ever have time, I would love to have an informational interview with you. You could even say, are you available for a 20-minute informational interview via Zoom? You could be more specific in that way. Of course, then you would want to say, thank you so much. I appreciate your time, and then sign your name. Real quick, why should you ask for a call? Ask for an informational interview or have an additional call to action when you're just trying to get your connections up and connect to more people. So we've already talked about strength in numbers, and we've already talked about the fact that the quality of your connections is just as important. So when you speak to someone face to face, that's better than a Zoom call. When you speak to someone via Zoom, that's better than a phone call. And when you speak to someone over the phone, that's better than an email, and an email is better than a LinkedIn message. So what can you do on that spectrum to increase the quality of your connection? And you've already learned today in this presentation why in-person is best, and then trickling down that line, why why Zoom call is the next best thing. You are demonstrating genuine interest through initiating a call to action because you're saying, I want to learn more from you than just what your LinkedIn can provide. I want to ask you specific questions about that I have about your experience. And they're more likely to remember you, not only when they have a Zoom call, it's face to face, but when you're taking this extra initiative to deepen the connection beyond just connecting on LinkedIn. The last thing that you want is for potential connections to think that you're just trying to add them to your network for your own benefit and increase your number of connections. This call to action helps get rid of this hesitation because they demonstrate genuine interest. And always when you connect with someone, you really should be sending a message, even if it's just to say, I want to stay updated on what you're doing in the field, because I get connection requests all the time from people who are current undergrads where I went to school. I am a Penn State graduate. So when current students who I've never met because I'm older than them, I've graduated some years ago at this point, they want to connect with me but don't send a message. In my mind, to me, I'm thinking, okay, this person's trying to increase the quantity of connections, but they don't really care about me because they haven't sent that message. Now, I also mentioned that sending an email is preferred over sending a LinkedIn message. So on the next slide, I have a script that shows how to email alumni. This sample, I really want you to take a screenshot of it, write it down, whatever you need to do. Of course, you'll be getting the recording after this meeting. But the reason why I'm so proud of this example is because I used this template with one of my students in the spring, and this person was really trying to get a job at a specific company. They had reached out to 7 different people for informational interviews using this exact template. She ended up having informational interviews with 3 out of the 7 people she messaged. And one of those 3 worked at the company that she was trying to get a job at. And so you can see already how that would have been super helpful. The reason why this email was successful is because of the subject line. First of all, GW graduate student seeking 15-minute informational interview. It's clear and to the point. There's an unknown email in this person's inbox, but they know exactly who this person is already. Then they, of course, introduce themselves, state who they are, state why they're fascinated. Again, those 3 components that I already mentioned. And then there's a call to action. Are you available for a 15-minute phone or Zoom call in the next couple of weeks? You're probably wondering, how do I get someone's email if their email is not on LinkedIn? And on the screen, you'll see it's linked. It says Apollo IO. You'll get the slides with the link after this meeting, or you can just Google search Apollo IO and it will pop right up. You can create a free account for Apollo IO. And in this free account, it allows you to access 10 emails for different professionals. So Apollo IO pulls information from LinkedIn and is able to find the person's work email. So if you find someone on LinkedIn, you type in their name on Apollo IO in the search engine, and then you can access that person's email, which is kind of scary in today's world that you can do that, but it's also really helpful and really cool, and it's helped a lot of people. So those are the scripts. I hope they were helpful for reaching out to people. What I want to leave you with is, you've already gained a lot of skills, a lot of next steps, a lot of things in your networking toolkit from this presentation, but now we're going to talk about what not to do. So first of all, don't ask someone for a job, especially if you've never met them before. Just imagine that someone who you've never met is reaching out to you and asking you for a job. First of all, you don't know really quite how to help them because you don't know what their skill set is and you've never met them. So why should you go through all this extra effort to help someone who's clearly using you? So again, don't ask someone for a job, at least right away. Second, don't connect with strangers without sending a message. Just like I said with current Penn Staters who message me without sending a message, it makes me think they're just trying to increase their connections and they don't really care to know me or who I am. Don't engage with LinkedIn postings without following up. This is a really big one. On LinkedIn, you'll find a lot of recruiters posting job postings. You'll also find, there are not very many of them, but you'll find some scammers. And so you may come across job postings that say, here's this really amazing job posting at this, this really awesome company that a lot of people want to work for. Comment below if you're interested. And so some students have come to me and other career counselors at GW and said, I'm commenting interested in all of these postings and I'm not getting the information. I don't know how to apply to them. Well, a lot of these postings, you really have to do your research and check them to see if they are legit. You'll see maybe 700 up to 700 people who have commented interested on these postings. And so, of course, if there are 700 people commenting, this recruiter is never going to message you personally and send you the job information. So I find it's helpful to, if you're going to go that route to find positions, look at local recruiters. So recruiters who are local to the DMV, not national recruiters who are recruiting people from all these different areas, but also don't just comment interested. If you see a job that is posted that you really are interested in, take the time, go look at the profile of the person who posted it, make sure they're a real person, vet them, ask a career counselor if you're not sure if they're trustworthy, and message them directly and message them and say how interested you are in the position that they posted. And finally, don't feel nervous about reaching out to people. It took me a long time to get over my own nerves. I wouldn't say I'm an introvert, and it's still scary to me to reach out to people who I've never met before. But the more you do it, the better at it you'll get. And the amount of success that networking will bring you throughout your long careers that you have ahead of you, it's going to grow exponentially. And so it's really important. Try and get over that hump, try and take the leap. And so that is what you shouldn't do. To end this presentation, I just want to share a couple of the other services that we offer, and then we want to open up the floor for questions. So today, this networking workshop was just one piece of our larger career readiness workshop series. Of course, we offer our workshops. Please be on the lookout for our spring workshops. Tomorrow, we have a managing job search anxiety workshop with a panel of real world professionals. So we really hope you attend that workshop. We also offer one-on-one coaching sessions with both me and Dr. Ruffner Caesar. We can talk with you personally about your LinkedIn account and your networking strategy. You also have access to Handshake. It's a job and internship search site. Lots of different events posted on there, including our workshops. Again, job and internship postings, a lot of different resources there. And you can always feel free to contact us at our careers email. You will have this because after this workshop tonight or at some point tomorrow, definitely by the end of the week, you'll have received this recording and the other resources that were mentioned from that email. So you should be able to reply directly with any questions that you have. You can see our website linked there and then how to schedule an appointment. And so at this point, we will open up the floor for questions. Any questions about anything that was shared today?
I was curious, there was a statement, it was one of the earlier slides about I think just the general idea that you should have a mutual relationship with the folks in your network. You should be able to help them just as much as maybe they would help you. And so I was thinking is if you were early career looking for, having someone more senior in your network, how you would be able to help them. Thinking sometimes it might, I doubt they would come to me for advice for some items, but still building that relationship. So I don't know if you had any advice on that, or if that's really more of, you'd kind of maybe have a mentoring relationship there, which would take on a different flavor. I don't know, just some nuance to that relationship, I guess.
Yeah. Don't underestimate your expertise, even though you're
That's
maybe
true.
new, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes people who are more senior may have some challenges with technology, right? Social media. So look in your toolbox. First of all, um, don't be intimidated. Try not
Hmm.
to be intimidated by the experience and the credentials of someone who may be supporting you. Acknowledge it, respect it, but also acknowledge and respect your own expertise and continually look for opportunities to be an asset. So it may not be, having the same amount of experience, but it could
Hmm.
be, again, technology, social media, or some other things where you could maybe serve as a thought partner for how to get information out, how to engage others. This person may need a perspective of a young professional, and you would have that perspective. So there are
Right.
lots of ways that you could be an asset to that person. And maybe even in ways they don't even know that you're an asset. So be
Uh-huh.
creative.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
that sounds good. Thanks.
you're welcome. Great question. Anyone else? And if you don't have a question, would you mind sharing with us what stood out for you, what was really helpful in this presentation? Getting that kind of feedback helps us just to continue to improve in what we're offering. Or maybe it's something we didn't share that you would like to share, again, to help us to enhance this experience.
I think the LinkedIn stuff is really helpful. I've been working for about 5 years now, and I actually met with the LinkedIn. Um, there's a LinkedIn team on Handshake through the C's school. I actually met with her this morning to kind of revamp the LinkedIn, my own profile. So that was, but hearing your input as well was really, really helpful. I'm in the process of doing that. So active, that was definitely application I can use in the coming months.
Awesome.
Anyone else before we close out the session? Okay. Well, if there isn't anything else, again, you all, thank you so much for joining us. We hope this was a good use of your time. And we definitely would love to see you back tomorrow at noon for managing job search anxiety. If you need support in that area. And if you don't, share it with a friend. So thank you all so much for participating.
Thank you so much. This was great.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Linu.